Every time I take out real love. Every time I take out real love.
Hey, welcome back to Z-Speed. Guess what I did? Picked up a brand new beater. I've been looking to replace the old Pontiac Bonneville, and a coworker was getting rid of her 2006 Honda Accord. It's got like 190,000 miles on it, and it had been a little accident. She had run up on an embankment and bent the passenger side drive axle back, and it's rubbing a little bit right now, and you can see it's a little dirty. It's been sitting for a while. And you can see that front wheel is definitely bent back, so we'll definitely have to address that. I bought it as is. She said she would sell it to me for $1,000, but I couldn't really do a lot of inspection on it. She just wanted to get rid of it ASAP, and I said, okay, I'll do it. $1,000, I'll do it. So we're going to do a little walk around, and we're going to check it out and try to diagnose the problems on this thing so you can come along on the journey. Basically, right now it's just, real dirty. Got some mold on it. It's been sitting under some trees. And you got some scrapes on the back bumper. I mean, nothing major, no big dings anywhere. So the body's pretty straight. And that's kind of nice. So if we clean this thing up, it'll probably look a lot better. And the major problem, like I talked about earlier, is that the front drive axle is bent back. It does spin, but it does rub. And I'm not sure exactly what it's rubbing on, but we're going to look at that in a little bit and figure it out. It's missing the wheel well here, or fender well, and that's no big deal. We can get replacements for that, so we're not going to worry about that at all. And let's take a look at the other side. This is not damaged here, so this is what the position the wheel should be in. It's missing its little fender liner there. You can see the headlights are pretty faded. Nothing we can't fix there. Got a ding on the hood I can see right here. A little bit of rust, nothing major. And the fender's bent a little bit right there. I can fix that. A little bit of rust in that scratch, no problem. Let's take a look inside, see what we got going on here. And you can see it's quite dirty. It hasn't been cleaned in a while. And this got some cigarette burns there. It's pretty dirty. There's a carbon fiber inlay right there, which is kind of neat. And the carpet looks like it's definitely had it. I don't know, maybe we can rehab that. That armrest is pretty dirty there. You got carbon fiber inlays around the shifter knob. The stereo still works, that's good. And the carpet is definitely dirty down there on the passenger side. So we got our work cut out for us if we want to make this a daily. This looks a little bit better in here, but this floorboard looks like somebody might have lost their lunch there. I don't know. It's pretty rough, and the back seat's a little beat up too. Now, one of the main reasons I was so eager to pick this car up was because of the engine, the K24 engine it's got, which replaced the old B Series engine in the Honda. And you all know by now that this K Series is a really nice engine, very reliable, up to 300,000 miles plus. So I did not see any big oil leaks or anything anywhere. It was a little dusty and dirty. Not a problem, we can clean that all up. So I was pretty happy about that. Idle sounded good. It had oil in it, which is always a great sign, and it was a little dirty, but other than that, oh well. The belts were still decent, and was missing the battery clamp that holds it in place, so I'll have to replace that. And the mass airflow sensor, you can see right next to that is a big crack in that tube, so I'm going to definitely have to replace that ASAP. And I went on to eBay and found one for like $11 and replace that right away. There's another crack on this end, and we definitely don't want any cracks in there or air leaks, and that could mess up the the air-fuel ratio, so I replaced that right away, and it sounded great on idle. So that's the reason I wanted this car. It was all about the engine. Now at this point, my OCD kicked in hardcore. Now I couldn't do any work at all until I got this thing looking a lot shinier, if you know what I mean. I just could not work on this car until I got all this dirt and debris off. And so I went to work on the finish first, even though it's probably the last thing some people would do. I started with the finish first, and believe it or not, it took 4 buckets of soap and water to cut through all this mold, mildew, and dirt and debris. And once I got all that off, I could kind of see what I had to work with, and I could start with the next step, which was basically to do some polish work on there and to get some of the dings and swirl marks out. Now when you're dealing with a clear coat in this kind of condition, you really need to take some cutting compound, and I really like this Meguiar's Ultra Cut compound, which is basically equivalent to a 1200 grit sandpaper, and this will take a super fine layer off the top of the clear coat, and it'll really help get rid of any scuff marks, any type of mold stains. It'll even take the rust right out of your scratches, and it'll even brighten the lenses up just a little bit. But this is a good way to start off when your clear coat is in this kind of condition. You really don't want to just try to wax it. It really needs some more attention than just wax can do at this point. You have to kind of take off the very top layer. And once you get to the top layer, then you can come back and wax it. And it'll probably take several waxes to really get this paint back into decent condition, because it's been exposed to the elements for so long. Now, if you're not sure you need a cutting compound on your finish, this is a great example of what it looks like when you do. You can see these discoloration marks that almost look like rust on the paint, which it's not. And this still looks like there's mold right along the third brake light right here. And the soap and water did not even hardly phase this. So at this point, wax is not going to do a lot with that either. You have to use a cutting compound to cut through all this muck and to get the clear coat cleaned up. And presto, take a look at that paint job now. Cutting compound, 2 waxes later, and it's so shiny you can see yourself in it. And yeah, I'm gonna go over how I did it. I just kind of jumped ahead here, but take a look at the finish now. Okay, now as far as the exterior, I'm going to show you what I've used on the headlights here, and that was some good old-fashioned Mother's mag polish, and this stuff is amazing on headlights. You just tape off all the way around your headlight right here with some masking tape, and you're able to get a rag and just put a nice generous coat of Mother's mag polish on there and polish it, and boom, it'll clean it right up in a heartbeat. We already talked about this cutting compound, Meguiar's cutting compound, which is basically equivalent to 1200 grit sandpaper. And that stuff is amazing. It cut through all that muck you saw on my paint job. It also cleaned out all the scratches and cleaned the rust out inside the scratches as well. And that allowed me to take some touch-up paint and touch that up. And then we were ready for the wax at that point. And I waxed it twice. I waited about 3 or 4 days, and I waxed it again, washed it and waxed it again. And I like this Ultimate liquid wax by Meguiar's. It's got a very low residue, so once you put it on and polish it in, it's very easy to get off, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to get the haze off. It's just a light haze. Works really, really well. And on the interior, I used a combination of products. I'm going to show you that right now. To get the carpet clean, I used a combination of products. I used this Dawn Platinum, very strong stuff, and I poured about 5 or 6 ounces into a squirt bottle, just your average size squirt bottle that you can pick up from like a Walmart. Then I added probably about 10 ounces of this OxiClean carpet cleaner, and you can use a little more or less, and some 91% rubbing alcohol. Then the rest was just hot water. So I ended up with like about a half a squirt bottle of these products and the rest hot water. And I just sprayed everything down, and I was able to use a carpet cleaner to scrub most of the dirt out. I know what you're thinking. Hey, Z-Speed, what about that front suspension? How'd you repair that? Don't worry, I've got a great video coming out on how I diagnosed what was wrong and what I did to totally repair the whole front suspension. All you Honda guys are gonna love that one. I've got some links below for all the products I used, and I hope you like and subscribe if this helped you out. And don't worry, Z-Speed will be back soon with another one. So until then, keep on repairing.